don't know what that is, but it's fine.
Jeremiah.
What's up? This is Steve-O from Jackass. You're listening to Radio DePaul.
Radio DePaul.
Radio DePaul is Chicago's college connection.
Welcome back, everybody. Today is Tuesday, and we are here. It is the Laura Love Tales with your host, Tren. I'm so excited to talk about another topic that I am deeply passionate about. And before we get into everything, I want to emphasize that this is a show that talks about how media encompasses the way that we feel, the way that we think, the way that we go around the world with not only just ourselves, but with the relationships that we've cultivated along the way. And with those drivers being not only just our experiences, but media, which we go through all types of different mediums like film, TV, literature, music, all of the above. So this week, I decided to do something a little bit different, and I wanted to talk about a specific storyteller that is very near and dear to my heart. But before we get into that, I want to talk about what happened last week and what we were talking about that, and just to give you, if you're new to the show, just something, a little insight. So last week, we talked about how to be your most creative self. And I gave about probably 10. Yeah, I gave about 10 tips of how to be your best creative self. And from what I remember, because I can't think of them on the top of my head, a good chunk of them were like, if you're tired, you're tired. You should have a syllabus. And that's the main thing that I was going to get into specifically for this week. Another one was about, I think one of them, I'm trying to think of some because I wrote them all down in my notes. Your process is your process, so you shouldn't care about how you get there, or you shouldn't care how others feel about how you get there. All of those things, all of which are on my YouTube channel if you would like to see all of those. And that my YouTube channel is Tren Universe, my nickname Universe. And funny enough, it's because of Steven Universe, and we're going to be talking about Steven Universe today. So this week, every week I post a poll that is related and adjacent to the topic that we talk about. And if you'd like to be a part of those polls every week, you can follow me on Tren_Monet, Monae. It's a different spelling. So if you'd like to be a part of those and see some behind the scenes things and just me in general when I talk about storytelling, because I always, before I even got on the show, I had my own podcast, I had my own YouTube channel and everything. So I always loved and had a passion for storytelling. So I'm always talking about storytelling in any way that I can, even if it's not here. So this week's poll, I wanted to ask my peers and, just wanted to see the divide and see which one they liked more. Which show did they enjoy the most? Was it Adventure Time or Steven Universe? And 71% said Adventure Time. And 29% said Steven Universe. And you're probably wondering why this specific poll? Why couldn't you just say something solely Steven Universe related? It's because the creator that I'm getting into, the writer, Rebecca Sugar, has also worked on Adventure Time as well. She's worked on a storyboard for Adventure Time. And she didn't finish it because she was starting Steven Universe. She was working on her own show, and some of the songs, or one of the songs that I'll get into today that I want to play for you guys, which it will be a very musical, it's going to be a very musical Tuesday hour for sure. But, all that to say this, I really enjoyed Steven Universe as I watched Steven Universe for the first time around the show being, like, when the show began, right? So, me and Steven, most like other people, were around the same age. We were around, I was around probably 11, 12, whatever that sixth grade part of, like that sixth grade age is. And as I was growing, it was the same thing with Steven Universe. You're growing alongside Steven, and he's going through his own identity crises and the way that he's going around the world and how people should perceive him. And now the end of the show, it was just a big circle moment. I will never forget. And it was such a pivotal point nearing the end of the show as well, because around the end of the show was around COVID. And for me, I was a junior/senior when I was during COVID. Everything started to just shut down when I was a junior. And when I started recapping the show, because I fell a bit behind with Steven Universe. And at that time when I started watching it back, and I think the show had pretty much been close to being done at that time, because COVID confirmed, like March 2020, that range, I think it was the beginning of March, is when everything started shutting down. And the thing is, when I had that so much time at home to watch Steven Universe, there was this episode called I'm Not a Monster, or I'm a Monster. And it was this point where Steven had just been overwhelmed with all of the traumatic things he had gone on through the show. Because in most cartoons, you notice that when something terrible happens, is the next episode is like it never happened, but it's not in this sense. The Steven Universe, the show was continuous through 6 seasons, and you don't see that a lot in cartoons specifically. So we've seen everything. Nothing was behind the scenes. It was almost as if you forgot at the time, or like it was almost as if you thought that Steven forgot, but no, it was the same thing. And it was pretty refreshing. So we got to that point where Steven's trauma just completely overcame him, and everyone had realized how much they had used Steven for the betterment of themselves. And it was never anything intentional. They just realized that Steven was just the glue of everything, the glue of the family. And they realized that we're always there for Steven, Steven's always there for us, but we're never there for him. And it was to a point where Steven became the monster that he felt that he was. And at that very point, Connie, which is Steven's love interest, but the thing is, I have to get to more into that maybe another time, but Connie had to snap everybody out of it, because there was a point where everyone had started blaming themselves because of Steven and where he was. And they're like, oh my gosh, if I could have just done this, which is normal for people to do. But Connie was just like, you guys, we need to face the situation at hand here. Steven is upset and he needs us right now because he's always there for us. So what can we do? And Garnet, she snapped out of it. She was like, you know what? We need to just be there quite literally be there for him. And it was just a montage of them just like running to him and giving him like the biggest hug. And all of them were saying things that the reason why they mean so much, or Steven means so much to them. And I just started bawling. I started crying. I was crying my eyes out in my room, crying in the club. Not really, but you get the saying. But it was such a beautifully made episode. Amongst other episodes, they're just really, really great. But other than that, that's my love for the show. But you'll hear that I'm more passionate about this while we spend this next Tuesday hour together, which we do this every week, every Tuesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. CST. And what is that, EST? Like 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. EST? I believe so. If so, we're just going to get into it. I think there's somebody using the booth next to me. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but even still, let's just get into it. So, my love for Steven Universe, from 6th grade to senior year, I had realized that this show had really had a hold on me, from the music, from the imagery, how soft the show really is, the writing style. And I really wanted to get into the mind of Rebecca Sugar and why she created the show, who inspired her, what inspired her. And most, what I try to emphasize in the show is that the things that we involve ourselves with, or even not even involve ourselves with purposely, they really change the trajectory of how we want to storytell, if that's something that we want to do with our career. So from podcasts that I've listened to, videos that I've watched, one of which I will put in here for you guys to listen to, because I was able to navigate the kiosk before I got here. I got here probably 50 minutes. This is probably the earliest I've ever gotten here but it was fine because I was able to move my camera and work with the lighting and everything like that and make this playlist for you guys. I'm just going to click on this right here for now just to have this here. So, yes, the Steven Universe podcast with like basically I think it was produced by Cartoon Network, of course, if it was the official Steven Universe. The first episode talks about where Rebecca Sugar gained her inspiration for the show. And cute enough, her show is actually inspired by her brother, Steven Sugar. And I thought it was such a cute thing that because her brother was also on the episode as well. And they had a conversation about what they were doing when they were younger. They used to play a lot of video games together. They watched it. Another thing that I realized, Rebecca Sugar really loves One Piece. And I was like, oh, this is it. I love this. There's so many connections being had here because I love One Piece as well. I am in the Egghead arc, but when the most of that, I'm going to tell you where I am in One Piece. So you guys remember, if you're up to date on One Piece, they had a 6-month hiatus and they came back on April 1st. The episodes from April 1st until now, that's what I haven't watched. So really, I could just make a weekend and just get all caught up. Don't judge me if that's a bad thing, but even still, don't worry about it. She talked about how there were a lot of shows and games that they watched, Yoshi's Island being one of them, Ocarina of Time, and Mario. They were Nintendo kids. They come from a Nintendo kid myself. I loved Mario. I was a person who really solely loved Mario games and the aspect of it. And she talks about how Steven kind of has like a Mario concept to it. And I was like, you know what? That's actually really true. How Steven's hair is just kind of like that mushroom top, if that makes sense. I was like, this is kind of funny. I didn't notice that until she revealed that little fact. And she also mentioned that they had like a bootleg One Piece CD and how the subtitles were just like not completely accurate all the time. And it was just like a game of trying to figure out what was being said. And I thought that was really cool. So another thing that she mentions in the episode along with Steven is that Steven actually, her actual brother, works on the Steven Universe as well. So while Rebecca works on the character aspects, like the character design and of course the literal show, Steven actually works in the background with the architecture part. Like he works in the buildings and creating. I thought this was a really beautiful way of collaboration of just siblings working on the same thing that was inspired by it. And there's so much love into this show that I realized that it's just like really just based on the love of her brother. And I thought that was really cute. It makes me think about my own brother, stuff like that. And I thought it was really cool because I didn't really know that Steven worked on the actual show as well. But I think I did remember that she had a brother named Steven. I thought that was just a coincidence. Like I'm gonna use it, but it was actually inspired by her brother. So their upbringing was relatively cute with what they told me, from what I heard. And she also mentioned the repetitive imagery that's shown throughout the show. And I remember when I recall thinking about watching the show, there's so much repetition of stars and intergalactic. I think I was trying to think of another word. I almost said galactical, which it really doesn't make any sense. But everything is just beautifully. I don't know how to explain it. That there's like the color palette when it comes to Steven Universe is so peachy and colorful, and there's so many blues and purples and pinks, and I really enjoyed how this show even looked as well, because a lot of shows now, they don't really have as much there's not a lot of two-dimensional shows anymore, or two-dimensional movies. I don't know why Disney stopped making movies that were drawn, because the beauty in it, the beauty of animation, especially when it comes to two dimension, is just like you're looking at someone's artwork in so many different frames. And I'm not sure when it comes to maybe it's just because it's more time consuming, if anything, but I honestly feel like 2-dimension is way more fluid than 3-dimensional. That can be argued for sure, but I don't know, just the thought of someone drawing so many frames for someone to just like move their arm or like move their head, I think it's more beautifully made that way. And one of the most well-known animators, James Baxter, who worked on a lot of Disney movies. I think he worked on Lion King, and I think he also worked on Beauty and the Beast. And when I mention there's a lot of times where we see creators like directors and even artists, we can tell it's their work solely by looking at it for a long time. Like, you can know exactly what a Wes Anderson film is. You know what a Tim Burton film is. You can probably figure out what an Alfred Hitchcock film is. But when it comes to James Baxter, his animation style is very distinct. And they had he showed up in one of the episodes. I'm not sure if he showed up in a lot of them, but I remember there was such a shift in the way that Steven and Pink Steven were dancing together. And I was like, this looks very familiar. Like, the way that they're moving together, this looks like I've seen this before. And then I realized it got confirmed that James Baxter was the one who worked on it. And I think amongst many other things, James Baxter has worked on other things that weren't Disney, well, Steven Universe included. But I thought that was amazing. And when we get into why the show has so much love and so much passion in it, it's not only just driven by the love of her brother, but also the fact that she has a lot of, I'd have to say, like, mythological Babylonian mythology in the back of this, I believe. I think it's Babylonian. I'm not too sure, but I know for sure that a lot of Rose, like Rose Quartz, is moved from the Mesopotamian goddess Ishtar, and she's the goddess of love, war, fertility, passion, all of these things. And a lot of her life, a lot of her aspects and concepts of her have shown up in Steven Universe. And one of them being, her symbol is a lion. And if you've seen the show, Steven Universe has a pet lion that's named Lion. And her Ishtar's crown is a star. And if you know Steven Universe and Rose Quartz, they both have a star. Rose has a star in her, on like the stomach of her dress, like near the stomach of her dress. And then we find out, which I thought was really cool, is that Rose Quartz has like, I believe her court, like her gem is like in the middle, like where her stomach is, just like Steven is. And what I thought was amazing that, she used that from a conversation she had with the creator of Hellboy, I believe. I think his name was like Mark something. I'm not too sure. But if anything, they had a conversation about how they wanted this repetition of imagery to show out through the show, of this about stars and love and passion and being fueled by the emotions that you have currently. And that's really what the gems have, that, to really manifest your own gem is to feel. You have to center yourself. And fusion as well. Fusion isn't just this one thing where you're in one space and the person is in another space. You guys are collectively coming together in this dance. You're coming together as this one being to create a fusion. And it's not about doing the right thing. It's about feeling comfortable and being connected. And what's so beautiful about the show is not only just the writing and the colors, but the music as well. And I have listened, man, when did the show start? I have to think. I think I like to think that the show started. Okay, if the show started was when I was like 6th grade and I was 12. Wow, the show was 10 years ago. Oh man. Let me make sure. I'm searching it up right now. Oh, no, the show came out in 2013, so that makes Steven Universe 12 years old. Okay, so the show came out when I was 10. Right. And that was when I was in 5th grade. Funny enough, a lot of things happened for me when I was 10. When I was 10 years old, that was when my musicianship began. That's when I became a musician, and I started playing trombone and loved trombone and music just kind of became my first love. And it's just always been a driving force in my life and the way that I convey things and how it's really centered me. So that, along with Steven Universe emerging into something that I just consistently watched, was a very soft, cute way of driving the kind of person that I am now. Man, that's really cool. And I really think about that. So from last week when I talked about how you should create your own syllabus in which you should talk about or look into the things of why you like the things that you love so much. If I said, for example, if you liked Interstellar, look into why Christopher Nolan makes the movies that he makes and how he makes them. Get into, if you really like the music and the soundtrack in Interstellar, look into Hans Zimmer and his creative process. And once you find the people who have created the things that you love and their inspiration, you just have a whole syllabus of where their inspiration comes from. You just have traces of other people's storytelling and other people's thought processes, right? Yeah, that's the right way. I think that's the right term for it. And you just have, and then there you go, you have a whole syllabus. If there's someone who has a specific writing style, if you really enjoy someone's writing, one of my favorite authors is Otessa Moshfegh, and for me to get into my own syllabus, why do I like the writing the way that she writes My Year of Rest and Relaxation? Why do I like the way that she writes Eileen? And if she writes about I'm not saying this for sure, but I'm not saying this verbatim, but if she's someone who really valued the advice columns in news and in newspapers and stuff like that, and she pulled it from there, then you can read those things and it just keeps going. So you'll never run out of storytelling if you just find why you like this way that it's supposed to, like this specific work of art. And Steven Universe was one of them. And along with that, along with music, along with Leonardo da Vinci, because I gave an example of that last week, along with, I don't know why, but I really love lemons. Like I really like, because my favorite color is yellow, but lemons and I don't know, I think lemon yellow is like my favorite color, the shade of that yellow specifically. And I don't know why, but I have a lot of lemon stuff. I had a lemon wallet before I had to throw it away because it got really old because I had it for so long. And then my first dorm that I had in college, I wasn't supposed to do this, but those the stickable wallpapers that you can put had lemons on it. I really don't think you were supposed to do that, but I did anyway. And my room smelled like lemons. It had lemon sugared it wasn't necessarily a candle, because you can't have candles and you can't have lit candles in your dorm. So we had wax warmers or candle warmers and stuff, you know what I mean? So it smelled like every time you would walk in my room, it would smell like lemons or sugared lemons, not like a limoncello sort of smell. That was more like a lemon lime lollipop kind of smell. It kind of had that Fruity Pebbles smell. You know what I mean? I almost bought a Fruity Pebbles candle the other day because I just bought a new candle. But I always go buy the Cozy Comfort one or the vanilla one, or usually the lemon sugared candy one, the one that I usually got in college. So that, I really don't know. I just, there's so many things that I don't know fully what the lemon one is yet, but I think just because yellow just brings me a specific amount of joy. I don't know. The color yellow has always been my favorite for as long as I can remember. For as long as people have known me, they've known that my favorite color is yellow. So, yeah. So, along with Rebecca Sugar and all of the components that have driven this show together, I have a couple of songs. About 5, maybe. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Yes. Okay, there's about 5 songs. And I think we can get into one of them before we go on break. So I am going to get that together. So with this, right, there's I want to see how I want to do this order. Okay, so we'll go backwards, I guess. So Love Like You is a song that's usually played near every episode for the end credits. And it's one of my favorite songs. And before I play it, I want to get into how and why Rebecca wrote this specific song. And when we talk about how songs drive us, sometimes we realize, or not even songs, maybe just the way that we go around the world, I'll just put that in a general sense, how sometimes we realize we're doing things without really realizing them. So there's a point in my life, sometimes when I'm writing and sometimes when I'm talking to friends. I'll say this now. I know I talked about BoJack Horseman a couple of weeks ago, but it was until those couple of weeks ago I realized I was talking to my friend. I think I was talking to my friend Jimmy about this. Yeah, I was. And I said, as I was talking, he was like, maybe you should find a new hobby. Like, maybe you should find something else to talk about besides BoJack Horseman. And granted, one of those shows, BoJack Horseman being one of the shows that kind of gets me out of a rut or kind of gives me that sense of understanding when I'm in a low point in my life. I realized something. I was like, wait a minute. Am I becoming BoJack? Because when you think about it, if you've seen the show, BoJack is completely like his whole way of going around the world is just trying to get back that feeling of his show that he used to be a part of several years ago. He rewatches the same show that he was a part of. He has so many reruns of this old show, and now he's this Hollywood has been trying to gain some sorts of stardom from what he once had. And now I'm not someone who had, fell off the wagon of being someone who had a lot of stardom, but the concept of continuously watching the same show to feel that sense of closeness again was the same thing I was doing. And I had asked him, I was like, am I becoming BoJack? And he said, yes. I did not see this coming, you guys. I didn't realize that that's really what I was doing. I didn't realize that at all. And the amount of times that I talk about BoJack Horseman and I talk about so many analyses of it and why it's such a good show is the same thing that BoJack Horseman was doing with Horsing Around. Oh, you see, didn't she grow before our very eyes? This is very important. Like, it's so funny. It's such a funny parallel because you realize this is another thing. I don't know if I had mentioned this in that episode, but art kind of does imitate life. And I realized that there were so many other components in that show that really mimicked or just mirrored the way that I went about it. And it makes you think sometimes with the amount of stuff that you like put your time in or you just dedicate your time to, do you unconsciously start acting the same way in the shows that you watch? Now that could be an easy question or easy answer for most, but when you really think about it, there are some shows out there that you feel like are completely harmless, but after a while there are some things that are like, wait a minute, I'm kind of the same person. Was this the reason why I watched this show and I unconsciously found something in it or like subconsciously found it? Or did I just somehow mimic the same mind maps of some of the characters that I watched? And once you find yourself doing that, it's either you're content with it or you cease it or like you're done with it. And I think about that now when it comes to BoJack Horseman. I'm like, whoa, I'm not necessarily a psychopath or anything like that, but I'm just like, I don't know if I want to be really linked to this. You know what I mean? But even still, BoJack Horseman is a great show. I want to explain or have Rebecca Sugar explain it in a video of why she created Love Like You before we go on break. So I will cue this up right now.
Oh, Love Like You is so unusual. It started as a song from the point of view of sort of all gems, and just sort of a thesis of the entire show, kind of towards Stephen, but also kind of me towards my own brother Stephen. Right. And what's so strange about it is that because it was the credits, we wrote it in pieces. So I wrote the lyrics to that song over like 3 years in little pieces. And when I started it, I thought, this is about an alien that's looking at a human being who loves them, and the sort of secret meaning of this is that they don't have the capacity to feel this way because they're an alien. And then by the middle of it, I was deep into the show and going through a real crisis of confidence. And so that was coming from a different place, from a very real place where I was just like, why are people looking to me? Like, this is, it's not right. Like, and these people were coming out of the woodwork to sort of thank me for the show. People who were, who had been able to speak to their families in these wonderful new ways, people who had become comfortable in themselves in these incredible ways that I hadn't been able to do, where I was just like, I'm so inspired by everyone. Why are they thanking me? And so the middle of the song, I was sort of in that place. And then when we finished it, about a year later, I realized that the beginning was not what I had thought it was about at all. It's not a silly secret meaning about an alien that doesn't understand humans. It's about the fact that I had always loved my brother and had these people who would love me unconditionally in my life, and because of my own insecurity, I was never able to be there 100% for them. And I realized that this is actually maybe one of the most human things I'd ever written, and I had written it by accident. So I got to conclude it. It was seriously like a song written over 3 years.
So that was Rebecca Sugar explaining the fact of how she wrote Rebecca Sugar subconsciously. She didn't realize it over the course of 3 years. After the break, I will let you hear Love Like You, and then we'll talk about it with many other songs to come. So we'll be right back after this. I am back, and we're going to get right into it. So this is Love Like You by Rebecca Sugar.
If I could begin to be half of what you think of me, I could do about anything. I could even learn how to love. When I see the way you act, wondering when I'm coming back, I could do about anything. I could even learn how to love like you. Nothing like you. Look at you go, I just adore you. I wish that I knew what makes you think I'm so special. If I could begin to do something that does right by you, I would do about anything. I would even learn how to love. I see the way you look, shaken by how long it took. I could do about anything. I could even learn how to love like you. Love like you. Love me like you.
That was Love Like You by Rebecca Sugar. And this is the Lore Love Tales with your host, Trent. And with that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the song and from what we talked about, from what Rebecca talked about. And in those lyrics, we see where her thought process went when she explains that in the middle of the song, she had gotten so much praise because the song had been written over the course of 3 years. And as the show had already been out, she had been getting so much praise from this show from so many people, and about how it changed their lives and how they went about the world differently because of that show, because of Steven Universe. And she just felt like I feel like I would say imposter syndrome, but I don't think that's necessarily the right term to use. But she felt like people are seeing so much in me, and I didn't realize that it's like an understanding, like I'm just a person. I always thought I might be bad, and I'm sure that it's true, but I think you're so good and I'm nothing like you. Look at you go. I just adore you. I wish that I knew what makes you think I'm so special. I wish I could understand why you see I'm such a special person. I don't understand it. And from the standpoint of the song being about how aliens are not really capable, or not really fully capable of loving and having a different idea of compassion as opposed to humans. And it's just amazing because we see the adoration that Steven has for Garnet, for Amethyst, for Pearl, and they just are in awe, and they have realized that this is a human that they are learning to love as well after they lost their dear friend Rose, and now they have to pick up the pieces of that compassion that Rose had embarked on both Greg and Steven. And I thought it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful show. If you haven't seen the show, please watch the show. It's Rebecca, please. I don't know how, if you're ever watching this or you're hearing this, please find some way. We need more. We just got word that Amazing World of Gumball is coming back, so there's hope, right? There's hope. I'm really excited for that as well. So another song that really has really tugged at my heartstrings and really moves me whenever I'm feeling a little anxious, a little overwhelmed by some things. I play this song, and it's the song Here Comes a Thought with Stevani, which is the fusion between Connie and Steven, which is the first we've ever seen a human, like a full-blooded human, because Steven Universe is half human, half gem, but Connie is full-on human. And we didn't realize that regular people are capable of fusion. And we just thought this was just a gem concept. And when I saw this for the first time, I was like, what? Oh my gosh, they actually fused. Because it was just a sequence of them just dancing. But we realized that fusion is just beyond this idea of just being a gem. It's more than that. Fusion is a feeling. Fusion isn't just like a thing that you do. Fusion is their sense of freedom. You know what I mean? So Here Comes a Thought is a song that channels a little bit of mental turmoil. So it's a song about self-forgiveness. It's a song about meditation. It's self-regulation. And you're seeking help for the people who truly love you, and realizing it's a song that I usually sing, a song that I usually think about. And sometimes when it does come in my playlist, without me really realizing it, I sit and listen to it, because there are some points where I need to center myself and realize, take a moment to think of just flexibility, love, and trust. Here comes a thought that might alarm you, what someone said and how it harmed you. Something you did failed to be charming. Things that you say are suddenly swarming. Like, it's such a beautiful song. And this is Here Comes a Thought. It's a great song, one of my favorites. So I'm going to play it right now.
Take a moment to think of just flexibility, love, and trust. Take a moment to think of just flexibility, love, and trust. Here comes a thought that might alarm you. What someone said and how it harmed you. Something you did that felt to be charming. Things that you say are suddenly swarming. And oh, you're losing sight. You're losing touch. All these little things seem to matter so much that they confuse you, that I might lose you. Take a moment, remind yourself to take a moment and find yourself. Take a moment to ask yourself if this is how we fall apart. But it's not, but it's not, but it's not, but it's not, but it's not. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. You've got nothing, got nothing, got nothing, got nothing to fear.
thought that might alarm me. What someone said and how it harmed me. Something I did that failed to be charming. Things that I said are suddenly swarming. And oh, I'm losing sight, I'm losing touch. All these little things seem to matter so much that they confuse me. That I might lose me. Take a moment, remind yourself to take a moment and find yourself. Take a moment and ask yourself if this is how we fall apart. But it's not, but it's not, but it's not, but it's not, but it's not. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I've got nothing, got nothing, got nothing, got nothing to fear. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And it was just a thought, just a thought, just a thought, just a thought, just a thought. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. We can watch, we can watch, we can watch, we can watch them go by. From here, from here, from here. Take a moment to think of just flexibility, love, and trust. Take a moment to think of just flexibility, love, and trust.
So that was Here Comes a Thought. And truly, if there's a point in your life when you really feel anxious, really feel overwhelmed, I do find myself singing that song. It's more like a mantra, really. It's like, take a moment to find yourself, or take a moment, remind yourself to take a moment and find yourself. Take a moment to ask yourself if this is how we fall apart, and it never really is. So it's never a point where the things that we feel are overwhelming us, that anger us, that scare us, it's not the end all be all. So take a moment, just take that time, take that understanding to just feel, right? But don't let that fear and that feeling overcome you. So it's one of my favorite songs ever in Steven Universe, because it's really changed the way that I think, especially not even just that, but there was this book that I read a bit ago called Everything Isn't Terrible, and allowing anxiety to not move you, but allowing your anxiety to just pinpoint how you are in that moment. So part of that book explains how your anxiety, from what I really realize should be the best way, is to view your anxiety as a friend. Because for a while I viewed it, and they explained it beautifully, how your anxiety, you think of it as just a tumor. You just view it as something that needs to be abstracted, when in reality we're always going to be anxious. So the most bad cases of anxiety, I get real bad anxiety, honestly, but to overcome that, I've realized that anxiety is more of like a friend to you. And it's just like a friend that you have that gets really nervous about things. And it takes you to be like, hey, I understand where you're coming from. I understand the concern, but there's nothing to worry about here. We have all the things considered. I understand you. I'm hearing you, but I just want to let you know that you're safe. So a good tactic that I've learned, a good habit really, is when you're upset about something or you're anxious about something, you feel like you can't find the right answer, or it just really, you just need to find some sort of solace, some sort of release, is when you think about whatever is overcoming you, whatever is making you really anxious, is understanding that maybe it's like, it's not, there's no fire. And the reason why I say that is because your anxiety really acts as like your fire alarm. Sometimes your fire alarm will beep, maybe because there's no batteries in it, or maybe it just goes off randomly because it's a fire alarm. It's supposed to detect something in the air. But sometimes, if you realize, sometimes it will go off. It's really sensitive that way, that anxiety, that fire alarm. And once the anxiety or the fire alarm gets fixed, it's because we're regulating it to let it know there's no fire. It's okay. So as the fire alarm is just like your anxiety is kind of formulated to protect you in more ways than one. So when you realize you feel like something's happening and you feel like you have no control, just regulate, be like, hey, is there a fire going on? No, there's no fire. There's no fire. So that's really how I've gone about the world, and it makes it a much safer space in my head. It makes it much more quiet. Something that I've really enjoyed. So if that helped, hopefully it does. Try implementing it if you like it. There's no fire. Sometimes I have to do that. But like, there's no fire. It's fine, you know. But a couple more songs, and then I'm this is our hour. Our hour will be done. So I'm trying to get this done so that we can, so that it doesn't cut off when I record and stuff like that. But the song, when I mentioned earlier in the show that Rebecca Sugar has worked on Adventure Time as well as Steven Universe. Steven Universe being like her baby because that's her show. There's a song written by Rebecca Sugar, I think before she left to go work on Steven Universe Adventure Time. It's called Everything Stays. And when you listen to the songs, both Everything Stays and Drift Away from the Steven Universe movie, because there's a way to watch Steven Universe. You watch Steven Universe and then the movie and then Steven Universe Future, which is a mini series that they had after the movie. And if you listen to Drift Away and Everything Stays, they're around the same. Like, let's go in the garden, you'll find something waiting. And then there's Drift Away is here in the garden, let's play a game. They both start off and they're both set in a garden. And then when I wanted to look more into that, Rebecca explained that there was a toy that she had, and it was Everything Stays is actually based on her leaving this rabbit. It was like one of her favorite toys that she left in a garden, and she left it for about 6 months. And when that happened, when she came back to it, she finally remembered that she had left it. It was completely changed. Like the underside is lighter, and it was just discolored, and it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It was just change, and it'll never be the same as it once was. And it's interesting when you really think about it, when you really deep dive into that, you realize sometimes the mental changes of being left behind are just they can't be changed. They can't be reversed. They're irreversible. And I'm gonna play a little bit of Everything Stays, and then we'll play a little bit of Drift Away, maybe, to get the point. But if you want to get more into this song is Everything Stays from Adventure Time, which is what we're gonna play right now.
Let's go in the garden, you'll find something waiting right there where you left it, lying upside down. When you finally find it, you'll see how it's faded. The underside is lighter when you turn it around. Everything stays right where you left it. Everything stays, but it still changes ever so slightly, daily and nightly, in little ways, when everything stays. Go down to the ocean, the crystal tide is raising. Water's gotten higher as the shore washes out. Keep your eyes wide open, even when the sun is blazing. The moon controls the tide, it could cause you to drown. Everything stays right where you left it. Everything stays, but it still changes ever so slightly, daily and nightly, in little ways, when everything stays.
So that was Everything Stays, featuring Olivia Olsen, which is also, if her voice sounds a little familiar, she does voice Vanessa Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. So a lot of her, and on top of her voice acting, she does a lot of the singing for both characters as well. So I thought that was really cool and very nostalgic as well. So I played the whole thing because we're actually doing pretty decent on time. So with that, right, you have Everything Stays. It's when you think about it, the way that I like to think about these two songs and the second one I'm about to play is everything stays is the perspective of the person who left the toy. I'm thinking of Rebecca. This is her song when she leaves, when she forgets it. And when she, the actual toy itself is the song Drift Away, sung by Spinell. So I am going to play that now.
Here in the garden, let's play a game. I'll show you how it's done. Here in the garden, stand very still. This'll be so much fun. And then she smiled, that's what I'm after. The smile in her eyes, the sound of her laughter. Happy to listen, happy to play, happily watching her drift away. Happily waiting, all on my own, under the endless sky. Counting the seconds, standing alone, as thousands of years go by. Happily wondering, night after night, is this how it works? Am I doing it right? Happy to listen, happy to stay, happily watching her drift away. You keep on turning pages for people who don't care, people who don't care about you. And still it takes you ages to see that no one's there, see that no one's there, see that no one's there. Everyone's gone on without you. Finally something, finally news about how the story ends. She doesn't exist now, survived by her son and all of her brand new friends. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that cool? And isn't that cruel? And aren't I a fool to have happily listened, happy to stay, happily watching her drift away.
So that was Drift Away from Spinell. And when I heard this and when I watched this show for the first, or watched the movie for the first time, I was like, oh, Rose Quartz, you monster. Because when you think about it and how I explained it, that this is from the perspective of the rabbit and the toy, you realize that this life that has been lived by the person who once loved you is gone. And when you return, it's probably a different person. And at this point, this was a literal different person. And you listen and you hear, she doesn't exist now, survived by her son and all of her brand new friends. And isn't that lovely? Because they used to be so close, Spinell and Rose, or Pink Diamond at the time. And I was like, oh, my heartstrings. It was so, it hurt me. Because even from Everything Stays, the let's go in the garden and you'll find something waiting right there where you left it, lying upside down. And if you've seen the movie, you'll notice Spinell's gem turns upside down when she realizes that Pink is never going to come back for her. And she realizes that Pink had this whole life without her. And I was like, oh, Rebecca Sugar, the storyteller that you are. Amazing. So this has been the Lore Love Tales, and I hope you really enjoyed this Tuesday hour. And we're going to meet again every Tuesday, like we usually do, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. CST, or 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for all my Eastern time zone peoples. I will see you guys. Oh, wait, sorry. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Tren_MONAE. And if you came in late or want to hear more episodes or more Tuesday hours, and since this is your first one probably, I have them all recorded and posted every Friday at 3 p.m. So this one is being recorded as we speak and will go up at 3 p.m. CST on Friday. So that's it for real this time. Trend Universe, because based on Steven Universe. All right, guys. I'll see you.